Hey, hey, hey. Guess who I got here? Have you guys ever heard of this guy, Onrie Kompan? Guy who came up with the Ishunjin trilogy and the man who trying to be a Korean, you know. I'm gonna grill him today because how dare he write about Lee Shin, the Korean folk hero? Huh? How dare he? Only come, welcome. Are you ready for the battle?
I'm
Are
ready
you
for
ready for the
battle.
battle?
Yes, please grill me away. I've been waiting for this for like the last 2 weeks, so go for it. Grill away. I'm
All
excited.
right, all right. Before let's get before we start our battle, let's get the pleasantry out of the way.
Of
Uh,
course.
what? Tell me what you've done on your Shin trilogy. Tell us a little bit about yourself and the Shin uh, birth.
Yeah, of course. So my name is Onrie Kompan, as the name over here says, and I am the writer, creator, and publisher of the Eastern Chin Trilogy, which is a 12-issue comic book series about Admiral Yi, and it's divided into 3 story arcs that cover the course of a 7-year conflict between Korea, Japan, and China called the Imjin War. And we have been working on this series for 17 years now. I've been self-publishing it. I go to comic conventions throughout the country, and I sell my books over every show. We've sold out at over 130 conventions, and we've hand sold over 250,000 books at this point, or coming close to 250,000 books at this point. And uh, it's been a lot of fun working on it. Um, as for my background, I was born in America. My family is from Russia. We're Russian Jewish immigrants, and I grew up around a lot of Koreans. I used to study Taekwondo when I was younger, and that's actually what brought me to Korea for the first time. I was 18 years old, and I went and trained in Korea for a little bit, and then I came home and I actually stopped. I started going to college, and so I didn't have time for Taekwondo anymore because I was going to school and then working a full-time job, and um, I felt a real disconnect. And a couple of years later, I discovered this really awesome K-drama called The Immortal Isun Shin, and it really inspired me. And it was around this time that the 300 movie was released, and that was really popular. And 300 itself was based off of a comic series, which I had actually come to first. And I really enjoyed the comic a lot. And then seeing the success of the movie, I was like, wow, this is really cool that people have such an interest in not just history, but in real life heroes. And it was when I went to the theater, and a packed theater for the premiere of 300, that I thought to myself, it would be really cool if I could get this kind of excitement going for Easton Chin's story. And so I began a really long and arduous journey that took me to Korea. I worked with the Army and Navy out there. They helped me with my research. Also worked with a number of historians. I've been back and forth to Korea multiple times throughout the course of my career. We've actually had a Korean edition of our book translated and released in Korea. And I'd seen multiple printings, which is really nice. And yeah, now I'm just here in the U.S. My mission is to make this book a success worldwide, and I am the face of it. And I go to conventions near and far and continue to showcase the metal and might of Yisun Shin. So that's my backstory.
So we have a you working on trilogy right now. You got on Kickstarter that you have successfully backed,
Yeah, we
right?
just finished it. Yeah, so we are almost done with the entire trilogy. We're working on the final issue of the entire series. So the 11th issue is the one that we just completed, and it's covers the Battle of Suncheon, which is honestly historically considered one of the battles that was considered it wasn't a clear victory on this battle. It was more of like a stalemate. And the reason why was because kind of like there was another battle in Busan. What happened was Yi Sun-shin was so victorious fighting the Japanese at sea that the Korean king Sanjo thought Yi Sun-shin could overcome any feat, and so he had him initially attack Busan, which was where the Japanese were headquartered. And it was a very long and arduous journey to get to Busan from where Yi Sun-shin was stationed in Hansando. And so Yi Sun-shin couldn't really pull off the same type of victory that he could when he was able to choose where the battles would take place. And the Battle of Suncheon was a very similar situation. There wasn't a lot written about it. And I had to, at least not a lot of English written information about it. So it took me a long time to do research on it. I was really dreading it. I was really dreading writing this battle because I didn't have any, I had very limited resources. And it took me a long time to finally put stuff together because I had read a lot of books. I have I have a big stack of books, probably about a long box full of historical books just about the Imjin War and just about Yi Sun-shin. And I hadn't read these books in years. So this was the point where I kind of had to take those books out again and start kind of piecing together what little information I could on that one particular battle. But when we finally put it all together, I was really happy with the way it turned out. So now we're focusing on Yi Sun-shin's final battle, the Battle of Noryang. And it's all about not just setting up everything, but also closing off the arcs for the characters and making sure everything fits together the way it should. So this is the most important issue of our book because it's the last one. And the last thing I want to do is not stick the landing with something that we've been working on for so very long. So we owe it to the fans and we owe it to everybody to do this right.
All right. You mind if I play the?
Yeah, please. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. It's a 3-minute play.
Yeah.
Let's play. Let me know if the sound's working, okay?
Yeah, sure. It's working. How you doing, everyone? My name is Onrie Kompan. I'm the writer, creator, producer of the Yi Sun-shin Trilogy. I'd like to welcome you to our latest Kickstarter and tell you a little bit more about our series. This is Yi Sun-shin. It's a comic book trilogy about a Korean admiral who took on invading samurai forces in the late 1500s. Outnumbered 10-1, he never lost a single battle. It's all based on a true story, and we're back on Kickstarter with the latest issue in the series. This is a project I've been building for 17 years, crafting an unforgettable cast and bringing these historical battles to life in a way you've never seen in modern comics, with the help of some very talented artists and editors from around the world. If you're a fan of Shogun or games like Ghost of Tsushima or Ghost of Yotei, this is right up your alley. This newest issue is the penultimate chapter of our trilogy, and it introduces a brand new villain you're not going to forget. We've got a brand new trailer to show you, so check it out. And if you like what you see, take a look at the rewards and back the campaign today.
Peel off the napkin, O my enemy. Do I terrify? Can you deny the nose, the eye pits? The sour breath will vanish in a day. Soon the flesh, the grave cave ate will be at home on me. I'm only 30, and like the cat, I have 9 times. The peanut-crunching crowd shoved in to see them unwrap me hand and foot. Big, thick teeth. Gentlemen, ladies, these are my hands, my knees. I may be skin and bone, I may be Japanese. Nevertheless, I am the same identical woman. The first time it happened, I was 10. It was an accident. The second time I meant to last it out and not come back at all. I robbed myself They had to crawl and crawl and pick the worms off through life to be killed. Dying is enough, I guess.
Hey, all right. Let me take that off. So what's up with this trailer? I don't remember these characters. Who is this female character?
So Chuk Sin was actually a Korean deity. She was a toilet goddess, and this character that we're introducing, she's not the actual toilet goddess. She is sort of like taking on the guise of this deity, and she's human, and she is showing up in this latest issue for a very specific reason, and she actually ties to everything that we've been building on here. Hello, everyone. And so, what happened was in the previous issue of our story, we had a lead female character meet their end, and after that happened, I was kind of like, well, we need another female character that's going to kind of help bring interest into this book, because really the biggest challenge we have with Isshin over these years is two things. One, it's a foreign subject matter, but two, it's historical. And when you're talking about an industry that is primarily focused on, action like superheroes and sci-fi and zombies and all this, stuff that's like high concept stuff, we needed to bring something into play that would bring those people on board for what we're doing with this, so that it wouldn't feel like you're just being lectured to, or like being told that, there was this historical thing and here's all the facts here. The nice thing about a character like Chuk Sin here is that we introduced her at the right time, and she plays enough of a sort of an ominous role to where it doesn't impact what might have happened in history. Could she have existed or could she not have existed? That's something that we kind of wanted to play with, and we kind of stray on a very fine line there. But when it comes to the actual battles that take place, like I was mentioning earlier, the Battle of Suncheon, there was so little information there, but we had to do the best we could to make sure that we accurately portrayed this battle, as well as all the other battles that we've portrayed in this book. So that's really like the key events are the things that we want to make sure are accurately presented, but and anything that was written about or whatever. But things that happen in between, that's where we can take some liberties. And again, we don't take the kind of liberties where we're making this a fantasy book and you'll suddenly see monsters or other kinds of weird things. These are all people, and this is a human story at the end of the day.
So it's not it's not a total historical documentation. It's just a fictional story based on a historical character.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's absolutely. But when we say fictional, I wouldn't say that it's fictional to the point where you're going to see rocket ships in there. There's nothing that's going to be so far out of whack that it's not believable, and it's not out of line with history. Basically, if you saw shows like Spartacus, Blood and Sand, I would say it's something along those lines where, it's not too fantastical. It's, still grounded in reality and what could have happened. With 300, it was for the most part pretty accurate in terms of how the battle took place. But, there was also some weird, creatures and other weird things happening in between where they obviously took liberties. So we did that. We just did it in a slightly different way. You know, it's we're not showing disfigured creatures or humans in our story. It's everything is human.
Okay, well, I think what was what was her Shin is by the Kishin is, by the way, is like a ghost.
Yeah, she's a ghost. That's correct.
Yeah, ghost. And the what kind of Ikshim?
What's that? I'm sorry.
What was her name? Shim? What's Shim?
Chuksin.
Jukshim.
Chukshin, yeah.
Jukshin. Okay, Shin is a deity, or it could be deity. Ki is ghostly. So let me straighten this up a little bit.
Yeah.
In Korea, when they tell it's just like a campfire stories. You tell ghost stories in your campfire, and common thing in those campfire, you tell stories about Kishin, the one, and Koreans hate the ghost story based on bathroom, because it's not actually bathroom. When we say bathroom, you are thinking of like indoor plumbing and all that stuff, but the scariest
It's
thing in
outhouse,
the
right?
world is it's outhouse, way out off the off. This is your house. That's the
And
outhouse.
it's out in the dark. You
Right.
go up there, you're there in solitude. That's why it's scary.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
you're going there to go to the bathroom.
lights.
But
There's no lights, and
Yeah.
then you got a little hole that with the woods, and it's squeaky. You could fall in. You could fall into the hole, and so it's a really scary thing to go through, especially if you're a little kid. And so in these campfires, we like to tell a lot of this story about these ghosts that hunt these outhouse, and it's always about this kid who fell into this in that outhouse, had this kid fell in and became a ghost, and now he just grabbed everybody, and just so that kind of story became a common thing. And I think that kind of story sometimes does get mixed in with the historical stories. So hey, look, tell these people how we met.
Okay. All right. This is a great story. And actually, it kind of leads into the creation of Chuksin. By the way, I just want to let you know that you had a indirect role in her creation.
Yeah.
And I want to tie this all together. Okay, so let's answer your question here. So, I was at Baltimore Comic Con in 2022, just set up, and my friend here came over to the booth, and he saw my banner and everything, and he was a big fan of comics. He came to the con with like a bunch of books that he had. I think you had Jim Lee sign a bunch of books for you or something.
Yeah.
And here's the thing about Baltimore Comic Con. It's one of those shows that's really for comics. Like, I do a ton of these shows every year, and a lot of them have become less focused on comics and more focused on pop culture as a whole. And comics still have a major part to play in it, but they're not as big as, say, like meeting celebrities or getting cosplay parts or toys or whatever. I mean, there's just all kinds of stuff happening at these cons. But Baltimore is one of those shows that's like really brings on comic fans. And so, when we met, he obviously bought all the Eastern Shin books, which meant the world to me. I was so happy about that. But then he told me that our book was not the first time that Eastern Shin was mentioned in an American comic. And I was shocked by this. I'm like, what do you mean? I've been doing this for a long time. I've never heard of anything. Okay, well, tell me. And he pulls out his phone. And he pulls out this comic here. He shows me this book. And I'm like, I need to buy this book right now. I need to find it wherever it is. I need to find it. So Baltimore Comic Con is one of those shows where you can pretty much find any comic you're looking for. There's multiple dealers over there. Like, you know, there's the dealer floor, and then there's Artist Alley, and then they might bring in like one or two celebrities, but like that's it. So if you're looking for a comic, Baltimore Comic Con is one of those shows that like this is the place where you're going to find the comic you're looking for. And so I was able to find a reprint of this. But the book that I have here in my hand is actually the first printing because this was printed. There were two printings, so I was able to find the second printing, and I read this story. And so this was the story that's in here is a folk story, a ghost story that was written or that was told during the last year of the Indian War that Yi Sun-shin fought. And on the very first page is an image of the turtle ship that Yi Sun-shin designed, and the spelling of his name, which is spelled exactly the way that we spelled it in our books. It's Yi Sun-shin.
On second page. His name comes up on the second page.
His name comes up on the second page. Okay.
First panel, right at the first
yeah, second. Yeah, I think it's like right here. There we go. So you can see it's Yi Sun-shin, and there's so many different ways of spelling Yi Sun-shin in English, in the English language. Like for some reason, I think it has to do with the region of dialect in Korea. Like similar to how America, we have different accents. Like wherever you are, if you're in the Midwest or in the East Coast or whatever, you have a different accent. It's like some people just say things differently. So there's a lot of people love to spell Yi Sun-shin, Yi Sun-sin, which, you're going to read it and you're going to pronounce it exactly like that, Yi Sun-sin. But like, that's the way they formally like to pronounce it for some reason. I think it's a dialect thing. But if you want to know how to actually pronounce it, it's Yi Sun-shin. And it's the way that this artist, San-ho Kim, wrote it. And it's a really fascinating story, and it's basically about this man who runs away from his unit during the Indian War, and he gets lost. He gets lost from his unit because what happened at one point was the Japanese had managed to get Yi Sun-shin removed from office, and Yi Sun-shin's rival, Won Kyun, led the Korean Navy into battle, and in one battle he got the entire Navy destroyed. So the entire Navy was destroyed, and soldiers were straggling now, and they were just kind of like running around going wherever. And this guy ends up going to this, he ends up hiding out. He's just like a common soldier. And this woman finds him, and she says, I'll protect you if you marry my sister. And so he's like, all right, cool. I'll do whatever the hell I have to do. Sure, I'll marry this girl, whatever. And he marries her, and then the Japanese come, and his wife, his new wife, whose face he hasn't even seen, comes and aids him because it's like really dark. They can't even like see anything. So they're fighting in the darkness, and she looks, beautiful, and she helps him fight the Japanese, and they manage to kill all the Japanese soldiers, and that's it. Well, then after everything is done, he's now thinking, okay, I got my, I won this battle. Now I get to be with my wife. He realizes that she's a ghost and she's got a deformed face.
Well,
and,
she's not a ghost. Her sister is.
Oh, her sister's the ghost. Yeah, and she. Yeah. Oh, that's right. He said, "I'll marry." Like she was really beautiful. And if you help me, like if you marry my sister, I'll help you fight off the Japanese. That's right. I mixed that up.
But it turns out she had her face, half her face got burnt off.
Yes. Yeah, half her face. And so now he was stuck with her. He couldn't leave her. And that was it. And you know what? I actually believe that story was told specifically during that time to keep soldiers from running away. This is how they got them to come back after, losing this battle. Because if you think about it, Won Kyun lost at the Battle of Chilcheonyang. Yi Sun-shin had spent 6 years building up the Korean Navy from like nothing to a fleet of 150 ships, which was still not enough to push out the Japanese samurai from Korea, but it was closer than what it would have been. But anyway, in one battle, Won Kyun got that entire fleet destroyed. So there was no Korean Navy anymore. Like, that was the end of it. When Yi Sun-shin was taken out of command, he was also beaten within an inch of his life. And so he was, pretty much on his deathbed. And the king said, well, we don't have a navy anymore. Let's put Yi Sun-shin back in control because he's still alive. And they managed to find 12 ships, and Yi Sun-shin went back into command. But, if you think about it, all those soldiers who had run off after the Battle of Chilcheon, I mean, they barely survived. There was so much fear at this point in Korea because everything was lost in an instant. And it was very traumatic, and it reopened a lot of old wounds because the country got invaded in 1592, and no one was expecting this to happen. And it was sort of like a repeat of all this. It was like, oh my gosh, after all these years of fighting off the Japanese and keeping them at bay, now there was fear that they were actually going to occupy the country. We're seeing this happen right now between the Ukraine and Russia. It's like they've been fighting with each other, for 3 years now? Well, almost 4 years now. And longer technically, but 4 years now they've been mobilized fighting. This is a very long conflict. And now imagine if the tides turned completely and Russia was now pushing really, really deeply into Ukrainian territory. That would be a really frightening thing for the common people that live over there. So this was a pretty frightening thing. So I think this story may have had some truth to it, or was told in order to, get people to come back. It's like may have been like some kind of similar to like the whole ghost story. But this is what also led to the creation of Chuk-sin, because we didn't just want to create another female character in the story. We wanted to do something that would heighten everything else we were doing. And so, we're tying it back to the historical roots of the myth too. And we're only getting a small taste of her in this issue. We're gonna see a lot more of Chuk-sin down the line. But you actually really kind of helped get things going, because I was so lost, and I spoke with my editor on this, and he was the one who proposed the idea of Chuk-sin in the first place, because he had been watching what was that one show? Kim's Kim's it was a sitcom, Kim's Convenience. Kim's Convenience. And they mentioned Chuk-sin in Kim's Convenience. So he brought that to my attention, and then I did some research on Chuk-sin, and I was like, wow, this is pretty wild stuff. And then I remembered this book too, and I was like, this would be a kind of a cool way to kind of bridge the gap and kind of bring things together and what it also does too is it did a number of things for us. So when you and I met, we had just released issue 10 of Yi Sun-shin. That was 4 years ago. So 4 years, and now we released issue 11. Why such a gap? Well, my co-creator and co-writer on Yi Sun-shin, he passed away from COVID in 2021. Oh. And I was so traumatized by this because we worked so closely on the series. And even right now, as I work on this, it's really hard for me because we used to discuss everything together. We would talk about the ideas. We both did our research. We both, put a lot of time into this. And, he's no longer here. So I actually needed some time away from Yi Sun-shin before I could come back to it. And now when we came back to it, we created this character. And so now it's like we've given a reason for people to come back too, to be like, oh, this is a first appearance of a new character that we have for this story. So, and a new design and everything. And the way she connects to everything that we've done with some of the side characters in our story is going to be really important, and it's all going to play out. And I'm just so excited. I'm glad that we were able to make this all work. But this is the wonderful thing about it is we're still staying within history, but can we tread the line a little bit I think the rules can be bent; they can't be broken. Like you can't just say Yisun Shin went into battle and suddenly a bunch of X-wing jet fighters came out of the sky and blew away the Japanese and the day was won. Like, it doesn't work like that. But if we sort of bend the rules a little bit and what happens in between, we're not necessarily forging history, but we're kind of making it more interesting for people who may not necessarily be drawn to the book because of the history. And also, let's remember, this is comics and American comics. And American comic book readers want to be entertained. That's the first and foremost thing. Most of the time they want to be entertained. If they're in school, then they need to be educated. But, when I go to these cons, I'm writing this book to entertain my audience. I want people to like this book. I want people to talk about it. I want them to remember the characters and, feel the story and to really, for that story to resonate with them. Because, the truth is you originally had asked me to come on here because I'm not Korean. So, you said, how dare I do this? Well, I don't think I chose this story. How dare I? But I don't think I didn't choose this story. I really do believe the story chose me. And I know I'm not the guy, I'm not the guy that Korea would have wanted to do this, and I know that I feel this all the time, especially when I'm doing business in Korea. Like, I'm a foreigner, I get it. There's a lot of things I don't understand. However, I have been around Korean culture my entire life. I understand, how the culture works. I understand how things work. And I have a deep respect and admiration for Korean culture, and a deep and profound respect for Yisun Shin and what he did for his country. And I think a lot of people around the world, Korean and non-Korean, can relate to that in very profound ways. So that's always been my focus, is to try and bring people together through this worldwide hero. In my opinion, he's a worldly recognized hero.
Okay, the reason so this is kind of very ironic for me, because this is a month is May. The month of May is Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month, and I've been doing this for 4 years. This is our 4th year, matter of fact, and we feature Asian American artists and writers, and we we celebrate the month. And this year, we kind of sort of throughout the year we kind of expanded our borders a little bit. We included people from other countries. Hey, look, if they're creating art, writing for us Americans, then yeah, I think they could also be celebrated, right? So if we consume their art and writing, then I think we should celebrate them as well, because overall, we have Koreans, Filipinos, and we're celebrating their culture right now, right? So that's kind of, so I say, okay, so this year my goal was to have this guy come over.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. I didn't know he was still alive.
Yeah, he's an 85 years old man now.
Oh, wow.
I got his contact point and everything, but he hasn't said yes. He's let me see. Oops, that's not what I want. I want this one. So yeah, so this is the man that I wanted to be my guest of in these streams, right? And this particular book right here, that this is really first appearance of Yisun Shin, right? And first appearance of Turtle Ship,
and first mention of Won Kyun.
First mention of Won Kyun in the history right there, and his defeat his horrible defeat. Uh, so one of the things that I wanted to do was, hey, what I wanted to do was, by the way, no one put this book in CGC yet, right?
This book it's never been CGC'd before, like ever.
No, never.
Shut up! Never. No one has ever CGC'd that book.
No.
That's insane. That's crazy.
So I'm looking for a good copy, and
you know what I just realized? This copy, it's not bound. Like the binding broke. Like I didn't open it. I just and it's not a cheap book, by the way. Yeah, it's really hard to find a good copy of this book.
Anyway, so it's a first book to have actual Korean onomatopoeia. Or how do you say that? Onomatopoeia? Onomatopoeia?
Onomatopoeia? I don't know.
Onomatopoeia, yeah. The Korean, the sound they make.
Oh, Korean typography on the sound effects.
Yeah, onomatopoeia.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's the first, like the right here. There's a bang. That's gunshot, right?
Yeah.
Tongue.
Yeah.
This is first ever. No other book has done this, right? And has historical facts here, and I mean it's right there. It says right here, right here. It says right here. Never before in comics, Korean folktale told in English and Korean, right? It says right there, right? So let me so I say, you know, I live in DC. I live in near DC, so you know I'm gonna actually research this. You know, I'm gonna make sure that this is the first occurrence, and that I'm gonna submit it to CGC and ask them to, you know.
Yeah, put down all the the right facts. Like
The first appearance of a Kabuki-san.
That's so
first
awesome.
appearance of that's, So that's what I'm trying to do. Let me show you. So I called the library. I contact the Library of Congress here.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Did you talk? Did you talk to Sarah Duke?
No. No, I don't know who that is.
Hi, Lorena. So Lorena is one of my friends on here. So Lorena, this is Ghostly Tales number 101. Ghostly Tales number 101, and it was published in 1973. And it's by
101.
101. I'm looking. You know what's so funny? As we're having this conversation right now, I'm on eBay just looking up this book. And even when I see like a copy that's like a higher grade, it's got a total fold on the side. Like it is really hard to find a good copy of this book. Like I kid you not. Second printings, you might be able to find a decent copy, but like it has been really hard to find a good copy of this book.
So anyway, I contacted the Library of Congress, right? And they said, we found one. So here, I'm going to show it to you, okay?
Oh, okay. This is what you were telling me about. Holy crap.
1942.
Shut up. 1942? Holy crap.
1942.
Real life comics number 6. Okay.
Number 6. I had to find it. They told me and I found it, and this raggedy book is over $100.
Shut up. In that condition?
Yeah.
Wow. Holy crap.
Anyway.
Oh my God.
Let me show you. And tell me if this is a Kabuki-san, okay? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that Ghostly Tales is not the first appearance then?
Well, we'll see about that. Let's see about that.
Okay.
It's in this comic book story, The Rise of Yellow Fascism.
Okay.
Right? And there's a...
That's Hideyoshi there, isn't it?
Yeah,
That looks
yeah,
like Hideyoshi.
yeah, yeah. So you see this?
Ah,
What
okay.
does it say?
Yeah, yeah. It could be. You know,
Korean turtle ship.
but that ship does not. Okay, yeah, the Korean turtle ships. Yeah, I see it.
Yeah.
But you know, that Japanese ship doesn't look like. Okay, yeah, it kind of does. The deck of it doesn't look like the Atakibun or the Sekibun ship. Like based on the
Those,
sails, it
those
doesn't look.
silhouette, they are not turtle ship.
No, no, no. Oh,
They-
yeah. Okay. No, I was talking about the foreground. The foreground doesn't look
Yeah.
like an Ataki or Sekibun. Like what's in the background, that's totally a turtle ship. Like it's the silhouette of the turtle ship.
No, it's not. Look at the people. There are people on it.
Oh, there's people on board the ship. Okay. 'cause
Yeah, you see the people there.
yeah, yeah.
There, it's not ironclad ship. It's not armored. No spikes. There's no spikes. You know why they put the spikes there? Because they put the spikes on those turtle ship because that way the people cannot land on it,
Yeah, right, right.
aboard the ship.
That's
And they
interesting.
actually have people on there.
Yeah, it's hard to see through the screen because like the ink kind of like mutes everything.
Yeah.
I can't see it. I'm sure if I was looking at it in person, I'd be able to see it too. But yeah, fascinating though. I mean, the outline of it though, the outline of the ship.
Yeah, I mean,
it looks like a turtle ship. You know, it's got the
there's no armor, no spikes, no the head, no turtle head. So because the turtle has a cannon built into it,
yeah.
right? And this is the first ever in history the iron shield on a ship. Never been done before. I believe in I believe it's Lee He won every battle. Because these turtle ships were good for defense, not offense. That's my
his entire his entire strategy was defensive, but
Yeah.
those ships were also utilized for offensive
I mean,
abilities.
they use it as ramming. They use it as ramming. He used the ocean ties to drag the opponent's ship into that ship. You know, so yeah, but I cannot see that ship, whole bunch of those ships built, and
No,
then
there wasn't- he- the big-
travel over to Japan and use it as offensive ship because
he would have needed hundreds of them. Yeah, he would have
he
needed.
doesn't carry a whole bunch of people. He only carries the armor because armor itself is heavy enough,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So when you got lowers, they cannot carry people in it. No food, no supplies. It's purely defense, and
Yeah,
that's
no,
why he said
absolutely. That is 100% true. Like there are a couple things too. The Japanese ships were V-shaped on the bottoms, which allowed them to cut through waves and everything. This is why they were able to actually invade Korea, was because they had ships that were large enough. Their ships were not actually built for combat at sea. The turtle ship, to that same point, was not designed to be used to deploy in Japan because of the iron plates on top of the ship added a significant amount of weight, but also the Korean ships were flatter, so they could turn easily. They had more maneuverability in the water, but I don't think they would have been able to even make it across from Korea to Japan because they
that's what I mean. It's a purely defense ship. So
it was a defensive weapon.
And 1942, I don't think people knew what turtle ship was.
No.
Right? And also, back in 1942, they will not know what Joseon was, Joseon dynasty. Because when the Lee is from Joseon dynasty, not Korea, not Goryeo, right? Isun-shin is from Joseon Dynasty, not Goryeo Dynasty. So they call him Korean tutorship, but a lot of these artists and writers, they probably never knew what tutorship was. You, on the other hand, few American artists, writers know the Korean history, right? So who's this?
Oh, that's me. I logged in. So I just put in, for anyone who's interested, that's the Ghostly Tales 101. But what was the Real Life Comic 6? That's the book you were showing now. So I see a 2.5, a CGC 2.5, which is super low grade, selling for $230 right now. And
What, this one?
Graded. Yeah, graded. A 7.0. Oh no, wait, that's a number 10. That's not number 6. You can't find this book. You can't find this book on eBay.
Yeah.
Where did you find it? Did you buy it on eBay?
Yeah, I bought it on eBay. But the librarian told me first.
Yeah. Who was the librarian you spoke to? Was it Sarah Duke?
No, it was Megan, and there was another one, Megan and Hannah. Megan and Hannah.
Yeah, because actually, I went to the Library of Congress before to look at the original artwork for Amazing Fantasy 15. And for anyone who's interested in that, you can actually go. You can set up an appointment at the Library of Congress as long as you have a membership there, which is very easy to get. You don't even have to be a local resident to the area.
It's free. It's free.
It's free, and they pull out the artwork for you. They take you to a private area, and you can actually look at the original artwork for Amazing Fantasy 15, which is cool. You can see all the original notes and everything, but they have everything over there, which is really awesome.
And so that's what I mean. I was doing all these research, trying to, and I actually did find the Kim Sano, the writer for that comic book.
Mm-hmm.
He actually worked on Isun-shin in Korea.
Yeah, because there were a lot of comics in Korea about Isun-shin. Yeah, they're
no, he actually had a 3-book set. It's more of a, not a graphic novel. It's more like a illustrated novel, actual painting. And every page has a dedicated painting, and the story comes with it. And he really worked. I mean, that's one of the things. So that's what I was working on. That was all this month of May, month of April, March, February. That's what I was working on. That's and there goes this dude right here, comes in and says, "Hey, I'm on a third trilogy of Isun-shin." I'm going, huh? And I'm going, I have to see this, and that's why I say, I say this is a really was, I mean, it's kind of a Korean call it Korean call this fate, 운명. It happened to, this is a Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month, right? And I was thinking, I mean, reason I call you because I'm going to ask you a tough question.
Ask away. I'm ready to answer.
I'm going to ask you a tough question.
Yeah.
But I'm confident that you'll have the right answer.
Well, I hope I'll have the right answer.
I'm hoping so.
But here's the thing: I will say right now, if I don't have the right answer, I'm willing to learn. So this is a learning. Okay. It'll either be my chance to prove my knowledge or a chance for me to learn. Either way, I'm just happy.
It's not about. It's more about philosophy.
Philosophical answer.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Very good.
Now, I mean, in one sense, as a Korean, and as a aspiring to be a writer and artist myself, you know, in one sense I feel like, oh man, this guy is telling Korean Isun all Korean, you know, he's basically a Korean superhero, right? And you took that and you're giving it representation. So in a way, we go, oh, we are thankful. We go, oh yeah, somebody's actually writing story about Isun Shinjang, right? That's one side of me says really happy, right? Another side of me is saying, hey, I mean, is he does he have the does he know who Isun Shin is? You know, I mean, does he have the same attachment that a lot of Koreans would have? You know, would it come from? Would it come from, you know, the attachment that we have, and that's how we will tell Isun Shin Jangun's story, or is it to just oh yeah, this character is cool, the turtle ship story is cool. Let's just write about a you know, this Korean turtle ship, Korean Isun Shin Jangun. That sounds cool. Let's just you know, make a very entertaining comic book. You know, so you know, that's the position I was in. And another thing, as an Asian American, you know, person, one of my guest was from Japan, right? So that's the second question. First question is that. Second question was, I mean, not question, but difficulty of being a writer for this kind of materials or artist. Is that my friend is from, he's Japanese American, you know, and he's writing about internment camp during World War II and how they had to suffer through, you know, the they took away his family's whole you know, businesses away because Japan was in war with America, right? So, you know, if I was to tell this Isun Shin Jangun story, and if I was a pure Korean, I would look at it as, oh yeah, good guy, which is Isun Shin Jangun, the evil empire, which is the Japanese. You know, that's how we'll tell it, right? But as a Asian American, I have to look at my fellow Americans who are Japanese, you know, and said, will I tell a fair story? Do I tell this story fair where, yeah, I mean, the invading force was Japan, but were they really that evil? Or were they just purely evil? You know, and so these are the questions I have for you as a creator. Have you thought about that kind of a difficult thing you had to think about?
I think about this every day. And I'll tell you, I've had so many different experiences with different people who have come by my booth at conventions. You know, keep in mind, I am the face of this, literally and figuratively. So when people are dissatisfied or very satisfied, I get both of that. I remember one time I was at a Korean festival with my son, who was 5 years old at the time. It was one of his first experiences working with his father at an event. And I got set up, you know, I was invited there by my friend. She hosted this like Taste of Korea event, and she was like, you should come there and sell your books. And I was like, all right, cool. So I set up and everything. And this lady comes up to me. She was an American woman. And she's waving my graphic novel in front of me. And she goes, did you write this book? And I'm like, yes, I did. She goes, I am deeply offended by this book. And I'm like, okay, what happened? What can I do? And she goes, well, this was given to me for free at an auction. I had won it at a charity, so she didn't even buy the book. It was given to her literally. And she was like, this book is very violent, and there's sexual content in here and all this stuff. And she let me have it. And this was all happening in front of my son. And she was she was not happy with me. So I told her, I'm like, ma'am, I'm really sorry. There's really nothing I could do. If you want, you can leave the book with me, and I can, do whatever you want. And she goes, no, I'm going to let everybody know about how terrible this book is. And she stormed off. And I was like, okay, that happened, and that was it. And, there are people who are offended by what we're doing, and they're not even Korean, because, our book is violent. It's a book about war. And, like it or not, people had sex back in the 1500s. The most important thing is that we didn't portray Yi Sun-shin in any sort of negative light like that. But, of course, I think about this too. I remember I was in New York Comic Con one year, and I saw a Korean woman just standing in front of my booth, looking at everything, just observing stuff. And I walked up to her and I said, can I answer any questions for you? And she said, you wrote this book about Yi Sun-shin? And I go, yeah. And she goes, well, I've heard that your book does not accurately portray Yi Sun-shin, because he was never fighting in his battles. He was always behind the lines and directing his men into battle. And I was like, okay. And she goes, this is very historically inaccurate, and walked off. And so I got that experience too. And then I've had experiences when I've gone to Korea, and I think to myself, when we published this book in Korea, there was a big press push on this, because it was a deal that I worked out. It was a once in a lifetime deal that I worked out with this publisher. I don't think I've heard of any other kind of deals like this, but we managed to leverage a lot of press around the time that I did my first Kickstarter for Yi Sun-shin. And word got back to Korea, and I ended up running 2 crowdfunding campaigns simultaneously, because this company reached out to me and they said, well, you're trying to raise money in the US. Why don't you try and raise money in Korea too? So they were really helping me at first. And this got me a lot of attention in Korea. And suddenly I started getting publishing offers thrown at me left and right. And a lot of them were bogus, but some of them were real. And eventually a real one came, and it was a lot of negotiating, like months of negotiating. And we finally got the deal that I wanted, which was to go to Korea and promote this book the same way that I've been doing in the US. And now here I am, an American guy in Korea pushing Yi Sun-shin. And kind of what you were talking about earlier, saying like one side of you is like, oh, cool, an American guy's writing the story about, our national hero, but does he actually understand and care about this piece of history, this person, as much as we do? Does he understand how important Yi Sun-shin is to Koreans? And I can honestly tell you that I do understand how important he is to Koreans. But the one thing I want to mention is that even though I understand, it is not my desire as an American or as a foreigner to take that hero away from Koreans. Yi Sun-shin and the story of Yi Sun-shin will always belong to the people of Korea first. But to share this story with the rest of the world from a foreign perspective gives us a very unique opportunity to show this in a different way. And you mentioned another thing about the Japanese. And, are they the villains of our story? Well, are they the instigators of the conflict? Yes. But let's remember that there's a difference between Japanese people, Japanese government, American people, American government, everything everywhere, right? And let's look at Japan at that time. So Japan was under the leadership of Toyotomi Hideyoshi, who was a grunt who worked his way up to becoming the warlord of all of Japan. Very ambitious man, to start as a peasant and then to reach such a high level that you literally have to be born into this, into a certain bloodline to reach that kind of status. But he was such a worthy warrior that he worked his way up. And now he had all this power. And absolute power corrupts absolutely. He wanted to take over the entire world. So it's not that Japan is the villain of our story. It's Toyotomi Hideyoshi. And I wouldn't even say he's the villain of our story. He's the instigator of our story. The real villain of our story is based on a historical figure named Yoshira, who was, he was a spy that, actually got Yi Sun-shin arrested. In our story, he's known as Baron So, but he also goes by the name Yoshira. So actually, the main villain is not the Japanese at all. The Japanese are the instigators of our story. The reason why we did this is because I didn't want to villainize Japanese people. I don't want to villainize anyone, any particular group of people, because that's alienation. And I have a deep respect for every culture, right? And I'm also knowing that there are going to be Japanese people who are going to read this book. I remember in San Diego Comic-Con in 2016, this Japanese family came and they bought 4 copies of our Yi Sun-shin hardcover because Stan Lee was at San Diego Comic-Con and they wanted Stan Lee to sign the book. And they got all 4 copies of Yi Sun-shin signed by Stan Lee. So that's a big investment. They didn't just buy the book. Out of everything they could have had Stan Lee sign, they had him sign this, and they were Japanese people, right? So this is crazy that this could happen. But, again, we're not trying to villainize the Japanese. We're trying to show that this is an event that actually happened. The Japanese samurai were, brought together under the leadership of Toyotomi Hideyoshi. He wanted to take over all the world. He staged this massive invasion of Korea, and his intent was not even to go into fight with Korea. He was planning to just walk through the same way the Nazis did in Poland. He wasn't expecting there to be any sort of retaliation. So the fact that Yi Sun-shin just suddenly popped up and came out of nowhere is really amazing. And we're seeing this happen right now. Every effort on from the Ukrainian military and their leadership under Vladimir Zelensky, it's really amazing. You see the power of leadership and how it unites people. And Yi Sun-shin is very much that type of figure. And I think that's something that we can all resonate with. The same way people all, everybody around the world looked at Vladimir Zelensky the moment that people were leaving the Ukraine. And I live in an area where there are a lot of Ukrainians who fled their country to come to America. I actually dated a few women who actually left the country. I know quite a few people who left the Ukraine when that war started. And, it's a really terrifying thing. But here's Zelensky, who has no military background. He's an actor, and he's saying, all right, everybody's leaving. And they're like, well, are you going to go get shelter? And he's like, no, I don't need shelter. I need a gun. Because he was planning to stand and fight with his people. That was what Yi Sun-shin did. That's that kind of leadership. This is why they're able to hold everything together, is because they have strong leadership. People don't understand how far strong leadership can actually take people and can get people through hard times. And this is why I'm telling this story. This is why it resonates with me as a foreigner. And the fact that it connects to Korea is just a really sort of the cherry on top for me, because again, I grew up around Korean culture. I know I'm very familiar with Korean culture, and I know how important it is for Koreans to have proper representation of their historical figures and their traditions and their culture and everything. This is such an important thing, and we have danced on it, but we're also telling a story, and we're in the American comics business, and there are certain things that American comics demand in order for them to become popular. If I was doing everything a very traditional way, I don't think we would have the same type of success that we've had. This is a very different type of Yi Sun-shin than what Koreans have portrayed him as in the native country. So anybody else who made a Yi Sun-shin comic before us has done it to an audience, has portrayed it to an audience that knows the history and is familiar with them, and probably gets filtered into the educational system a lot more easily. Our books do not, because they're meant to entertain, but at the same time, they're also meant to represent who this person was and to really capture the essence of what made him such an incredible leader. He was a superhero because of how great of a leader he was. He listened to, he was only as good as the people he kept around him. His officers who taught him things. Yi Sun-shin didn't have any experience in naval combat prior to the war. In fact, his first victory was his first naval battle ever in history. And how was he able to do this? Because he surrounded himself with people who had been in the Navy for a very long time, who knew the seas, they knew the territory, the land, they knew the ships, they knew everything. He had to educate himself, and he only had a year to do this because he knew that the invasion was happening. And he knew the invasion was happening because Japan was, dropping hints the whole time. They were doing like big, massive invasions like this don't just happen suddenly. Even what happened in Ukraine didn't happen overnight. There had been conflict in that entire region for 10 years prior to the invasion. Actually, it was probably about 8 years prior to the invasion from Russia, even starting. So Russia started by invading Crimea and taking Crimea, and then attacking certain areas and destabilizing the region. And it's like we're literally seeing this happen again in real time, just with two different countries. So I think that people can really relate to strong leadership, and that's really what inspires me most about Yi Sun-shin. And one thing I also want to mention too is how deeply I appreciate the fact that you've asked me to be here tonight, because I know it is AAPI month, and I am not Asian. I have two children who are half Asian, but I am not Asian myself. So I am as outsider as can be. But
the reason I invited you, and I insert myself in there because I am at least Asian. So this is a story about both of us, okay?
Well, but you know what? You still have the roots, and you're based in America, but you're still Korean, and this is still part of your heritage. Like I would.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say I wouldn't have become knowledgeable of Korean culture if it wasn't for Korean Americans.
Yeah.
Like when I went to Taekwondo, I learned Taekwondo from a Korean who immigrated to America.
Yeah. Yep. I agree. And so
love you,
here's
you're the best.
Here's something. Let me show you something about this book. The bad guy in this book, the evil guy in this book, is this Korean soldier.
He's the bad guy in this. Yeah. Okay.
He's the bad guy because he agreed to marry the lady.
Yeah, to save his life. So yes, he is the bad guy. You're right. He was not brave. He was not brave.
Yeah, and then you're ugly. Oh, you have your face is burned off. So I'm just gonna. He could have just ran, right? He could have just ran. He kills her. Oh, you're ugly. I'm just gonna cut you off.
He was.
He kills her
for sure.
So he was a Korean guy, was the bad guy, and Kim San-ho is
well, I have a question for you now, and this is a tough question for you.
Okay.
So there were so much political issues going on in Korea at the time, not dissimilar for anybody who's unfamiliar with what's going on today. There's two political parties. Back then it was the Easterners versus the Westerners. Today it's liberals versus, conservatives, right wing, left wing, whatever. But there was a divide, right? The only difference was back in the Chosen Dynasty, there was always a king at the head, but the king was always swayed in one direction or another. So rather than the voters decide everything, it was just the king who would decide everything for everyone. So how do I know that a lot of Korean people, look back on what occurred in that period, and they have a lot of hatred towards King Sanjo for allowing this invasion to take place, because he had enough warning that this invasion was going to happen. In fact, a year prior to the war, the Japanese sent their arquebus rifles to Korea as a gift, but the gift was to show them the power of this rifle. The arquebus rifle was actually something that the Japanese acquired from the Portuguese because they started doing trade with them. And if you guys have ever seen Shogun, that explores that a lot more. But this is how the Japanese actually got their hands on advanced weaponry. And King Sanjo just said, forget that these guns are for shooting down birds. They can't hurt humans. They can't do anything. And you had I believe the Westerners were like, yeah, this is all just a bunch of crap and everything. There was a lot of political hide there. And plus, in Korea, there's 3 families, right? There's the Kim, Park, and Lee families. And so, these are the main Korean families. So someone is descended from somewhere in that line. And some people I've met, have been related to some Westerners who had really poor influence over the country, like Yoon Do-soo. So my question to you is as a Korean, what's your take on it? Like, do you look back on the government's decisions at that point, and do you empathize with them, or do you think that they allowed these things to transpire?
Yeah, they arrested Lee Sun-shin, remember? They arrested him because he was getting so popular, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it's like I don't know if Lee Sun-shin was he's E. I don't know if he has any relation to the kings or not. He could be maybe someone's nephew.
What was King Sanjo's? Because when they gave them the king's names, like Sanjo is not. That was sort of like the. That wasn't his familial name, right? He was Yi. He was Yi Yun. So he was the same family as Yi Sun-shin.
Yeah. So if Yi Sun-shin got popular enough,
he could usurp him.
Yeah, he could have, and King didn't want that to happen, right? So he arrested that dude just because he's getting popular. This is it's just those days politics, dirty politics, And of course, we don't, like this guy right here mentioned the Wang Gyun.
Yes.
He's the evil guy. He's Korean. He's the evil guy, right?
Yeah.
So
he got the Navy destroyed in one battle. He was very arrogant. Yeah, very foolish. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like so every country has villains, heroes. Whether you, I'm sure even as Japan's planning to invade Korea, there probably were some good guys in Japan that saying, "Hey, what they do? Why would invading an innocent country? So to just give them they're just like this book right here. Let me bring this back up. Let me bring this book back up, and let me write. The rise of yellow fascism. It's just, like all Japanese are fascists. So
well, you can even see the misinterpretation too of the swastika. If you show that one image of Hideyoshi over there, they have the swastika over there. So the swastika, which is really funny because when I was in Korea last time, I saw a swastika symbol, but the symbol of the swastika is actually a peaceful symbol. It's a Buddhist symbol.
Yeah.
The Nazis actually they edited that. They changed it around. Like the actual swastika is just straight down, like you see the backwards S, you know,
It's a little diamond.
it's not turned sideways, which is what the Nazis did. Yeah. So, but it's easy to look at that. But again, when was that book published? 1942. So that's like right. That's right after Pearl Harbor.
Yeah.
That's like right after everything. So like this is, I mean, there was definitely a lot of propaganda at that point that was not pro Japanese. It was, and it would make sense, you know, like I think comics have this really powerful ability to influence people's perception on things, and you know that's a wonderful but also a very dangerous thing too, you know. But especially if you look at the comics of back then, I mean that's what they were doing. They were using comics to fight the war, you know.
And this is our villain. This is our heroes.
Yeah.
You know, and all Asian guys look like this, and white guys look like tall and handsome and you know, and all Asian guys have this squanchy face, you know, the beady eyes, you know. Just,
well, like, you know, even if you look at how Will Eisner depicted black people in The Spirit, you know, Chalky, what was his? I think his name was Chalky, but you know, he was just a short, sloppy guy with big, puffy white lips, you know, and that was a black guy, you know, and that was the only black guy. Everybody else was. And even the way he was talking, he had this very thick accent that was, you know, you call him "sir," you know, like he would talk very slow and stupid. It was very. I mean, I guess now we would look at it and be like, it's racist. It was racist. It is racist now when we look at it. You know, I think if Will Eisner was still around and he's seen how the world had changed today, I think he would have revisited that. And may have taken a different approach or not. You know, it's like people back then had a very different view of seeing things, and they had seen things that we hadn't. I mean, to survive that ordeal.
Well, if racism doesn't exist now, I mean, that means that even after people seeing the differences, I mean, all the similarity or things we share are so. I mean, we are human beings, right? Even after seeing that, you can close eyes, you know, from someone being abused. You know, some people are not meant to change. You know. So who knows how they would?
And that's true. But here's the thing that I love about it is we can also come together in really wonderful ways too.
Yeah.
And I think comics bring people together, and they certainly have brought us together, which is really awesome. You know? and honestly, NammaN, it's really such a pleasure. I'm so glad I know you, because you are really one of those rare bridges for me as the guy who's the American comic book creator publishing the story about Yusun Shin, and you're the Korean American who is a fan of American comics and aspiring to be a comics creator too, and all these things. But you're truly like, you know, we're cut from the same cloth in a lot of ways, and I'm glad you're out there, man. I have a deep appreciation for you.
All right. Well, anyway, so you do understand my feeling.
Oh, of course. Absolutely. I deal with this every day. I don't know what's going to come next. I mean, even, you know, I look back on how I promoted Yusun Shin in 2015, and I think to myself, I must have looked like such an asshole to so many people in Korea, because I was going around and telling people, hey, buy this book, it's awesome, blah blah blah. You know, I even learned Hangul and you know, recited a speech in Korean and did all this stuff. But I was thinking to myself, there must have been a ton of people who thought I was the most arrogant son of a bitch. And I remember I was in a college, in an art school, and this really famous Korean artist was, I was invited to speak to his class. And so I'm sitting there talking to his class and reciting my Korean speech and everything. And this guy is not paying attention to me at all. He takes his newspaper and he flaps it right there and has his head buried in there. And afterwards, we met in his office. And what I did was, because I knew that I was going to be speaking to his class, I went out of my way to find his work. And I wanted him to sign it for me. And I was hoping that, that would just be a sign of respect. And I remember sitting in his office, and he was convincing my publishers that our book was not going to be a success for them. And my publisher, at the end of the night, they took us out for dinner, and we went and had the squid, the squid where it's moving. They kill the squid fresh in front of you, and they got drunk. They drank all this beer and soju and everything. So it's like 2 in the morning, and the publisher's having a meltdown because he's worried that he heard everything that artist said, and he now believes that this is going to fail. And he looks at me and he goes, "Please don't let us down." And I'm like freaking out. So I did the best I could out there, but I think to myself, man, there are probably a lot of Korean people who may have even been offended by me coming in as an American and trying to exploit Korea's hero. And I understand that. And that's, again, something I have to live with, is that I'm not the person that Korea chose to do this. I'm not the person that Korea wanted to do this. I'm just the guy who's doing it. And I didn't choose it. It chose me. So I'm here for better or worse. And I'm sorry. I wish I could be better. I wish I could be like those Americans in the 1940s comics, like, square jawed, tall and blonde and blue eyes. But no, you guys are stuck with me. I do have blue eyes, but that's it.
Well, here's the thing. You're lucky. Because I'm an American first.
Yes. Okay. All right.
So you're lucky because I believe that you could write about whatever you want to write about.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's the free spirit that we have. Now, it's nice that you are sensitive to the culture and the culture's need and their culture's
Absolutely
desires, and not wanting to misrepresent their national hero.
Absolutely.
That's nice, but you don't have to. Because we're supposed to be free country, right?
This is true, but if I didn't do it, then I wouldn't be telling the right story. You know what I mean? It's like Yi Sun-shin was a hero who defended his country against massive forces. And to really understand why that is interesting, like, why would anybody spend money with me to buy this book? Why? Well, it's because the story itself is fascinating. What this man accomplished is fascinating. So, what's up, man? How you doing? Hello, everybody, by the way. I'm sorry, if I didn't acknowledge anyone, but welcome all. Thanks for having me here. But you're right. I mean, like, if I wanted to, I could have written a 12-issue series about why I think Yi Sun-shin is a big jerk. But again, that's, and it may have gotten me just as much press or attention. Like, I remember there was a guy who wrote a book about Stan Lee. It was like a big hit piece on Stan Lee after he died. It's a book called True Believer. And I read it. It was a good book, actually. I liked it. I was expecting it to be a big hit piece on Stan. And it reaffirmed a lot of things for me. And for those of you guys who don't know, Stan Lee wrote the foreword to Yi Sun-shin. And I have a really interesting story to share with you guys about that specifically.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah, so Stan Lee wrote the foreword to the first Yi Sun-shin graphic novel.
So I finally understand why they wanted his signature. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yes, that was why those Japanese. Yeah. Yeah. So they got Stan Lee right because Stan Lee wrote the foreword to the book. Well, anyway, it's interesting because when I met Stan Lee, it was not long after I quit. It was 2 months after I quit my day job to pursue a career in comics full time, which is crazy. Who does that? Who drops everything to go and do this? Apparently me. So my sister had arranged for me to have a meeting with Stan Lee because she won a silent auction for a charitable cause. And I was going to Stan Lee and having my 15 minutes with Stan Lee. And that was when I was going to ask him to write the introduction to our book. Because when else would I be able to do it? So when I read this book, True Believer, it was a depiction of Stan Lee from a more honest light, I guess. So the writer wanted to say, and it was kind of showing that he wasn't this faultless person, that he had flaws, and that he wasn't really good. He wasn't always making the right decision. He wasn't always a great guy, and that can be said about anybody, really. It could be said about me. I'll tell you right now, there are probably, I can guarantee you, there are people out there who do not think very highly of me. And I'm sure that, and the same was true of Stan. Like there are people who had bad business dealings with them and everything. Well, particularly in the time when I met Stan was dealing with some very serious legal issues. And I come to his office in Beverly Hills, and I have 15 minutes with Stan. And of course, he's getting his money and he's getting all this stuff. But I'll tell you right now, I met a lot of professionals in this business, like high people. I won't say their names, but I've asked them for endorsements, and they're like, I'm not interested. I don't want to put my name on this or that. I put my name on too many things, whatever. But here's Stan, who has absolutely nothing to gain at this point by helping me out, and he helped me out.
Yeah. And
not only did he help me out, he was going through an ordeal at that time. He could have been like, well, if you want me to write you your forward, it's going to cost you $10,000 on top of everything. Or he didn't do that. You know what he did? He wrote the forward to my book, and then he followed me on Twitter, and then he gave me his personal email. We exchanged emails constantly. I never got a picture with him when I was in his office, so I had to arrange to get a picture with him at another convention, and he put me in touch with his personal handler. They managed to arrange everything so I could get a picture taken with him, which cost me nothing. Like, that was Stan Lee to me. And there were many times that I got to meet Stan, and that I had him sign. Here, I'll show you something real quick. This is really cool.
amazing story.
Yeah, just give me 1 second. I'm going to show it to you. This is something I don't normally show this to a lot of people, but I'm going to show it to you guys here. I hope it's the right copy. So this copy of Yisun Shen is signed by Stan Lee.
Oh.
And this is really cool. So I have one copy. This is just my personal copy here, but
You have a hardcover of that one?
yeah.
Oh, I don't have that one.
Yeah, you got the single issues, I believe. But yeah, we have hard. Yeah, but this is a really. I wrote about what it was like meeting him, but I didn't know what was going on in his life at the time. It's like you never know what's going on in anybody's life. But here's what he was dealing with. He was dealing with lawsuits. He was dealing with all these things that probably made his life really stressed out. He was in his late 80s at this point. And he still took the time to help me. And who was I? I was nobody. I didn't have any reputation. I didn't have anything. I came to his office with 3 issues of my book, sweating from my forehead, freaking out, and he helped me out. And he was so encouraging to me. He told me, when you do what you love for a living, it's not work, it's play. He was exactly the kind of person that he portrays himself to be outwardly when he's with his fans. And I take that very seriously, particularly when I go to these conventions and I'm meeting with people, because you have to have that same type of charisma when you're trying to get people interested in what you're doing. How did he build the Marvel universe? He built it by getting people excited, showing energy, this isn't just another comic. This is an experience, and that was what we wanted to do with Yisun Shen. This is what we're always trying to push for, is to give people an experience. You're not just reading another comic book, you're reading the comic book, that kind of a thing. Now, it can be argued, he's the guy who created the self-proclaimed title for Fantastic Four, the world's greatest comics magazine. And I don't think anybody can dispute that it isn't. It is the world's greatest comics magazine. You know, he had such a great ability to show how much he believed in what he was doing. Yeah, and I worked with a lot of those guys who were in the bullpen. So David Anthony Kraft, he was my co-writer on Eastern Shin, and he worked on the Defenders. He wrote the first definitive run of She-Hulk. He did a ton. He edited a ton of stuff. He edited the first appearance of Wolverine. Didn't get credit for it, but I mean, back then that's how it went. But I was actually connected to Stan through Jim Salicrup, who was a longtime editor at Marvel as well. He edited Spider-Man for a very long time. He brought Todd McFarlane into Marvel, and or he put Todd McFarlane on Spider-Man. Sorry, and turned Spider-Man into the top-selling comic of all time. So I've been watched over by some very talented people that had worked at Marvel, and they all were fans of Stan and how Stan pushed things, and that's how I learned to do what I do.
Awesome. Hey, you have inspired me as well, and I jokingly say I'm going to ask you a tough question, because I know you're going to have a right answer for those tough questions, right?
Well, I hope so. But again, even if I didn't, it would have been a great learning experience. The most beautiful thing about our relationship is you've given to me. By putting me onto this story, you have helped enrich my story. So I'm so glad to know that I'm not the first one that created Eastern Shin. That adds to the lore. And if you can help me, I really want to I want to print this story in the final Eastern Shin hardcover, just as like a backup story, just for people who have never had access to it. Because I don't know what the deal is with Charlatan Comics. I don't think they're publishing anymore, but it would be really cool to be able to reprint this story. And just so people can know it, because it is tied to the Image War, and it's tied specifically to the final year of the war. So I think a lot of people who would read that hardcover would really resonate with the story. Like, I think it would really make a lot of sense to them. So, and it is a real scary story.
Onrie, here's one of my want to do before I die was do something like this.
Yeah.
Story told in two different languages.
Yeah.
Korean and English.
Yeah.
So if you're going to reprint this book, make sure you involve me.
Oh, I will. Absolutely. However you want. I as of this point, I have nothing. I'm just talking about it right now while we're here, but I would love to be able to add that on there. And if you can help me with this, absolutely. I would definitely.
Because that's why I've been wanting to contact the Master Kim.
Yeah, Sun-Ho Kim. Yeah.
And one of the things that I want to do is tell these type of stories, Korean stories, that's written in dual language like this. Because way he told it, like for instance, right here. This
just how you have the sound effects. Yeah.
The Onomatopoeia is a part of the action.
It is. Absolutely, it is.
It's not. It gives that effect, and you don't only see this guy going. This, by the way, translates into luck, right? But if you read if you see this comic book, it's
it's not just an effect; it's an actual part of the story, And it's really, honestly, that story is not just a historical telling of a myth. It's an actual study in how great comics are. I mean, if you look at the lettering over there, the sound effects there too, as the Japanese are busting through that door, and like the effect over there, it's great. And yeah, it's all really awesome. I love it.
I mean, the Korean, see the this particular Onomatopoeia in English, it would have been just a crash, right?
Yeah.
Crash, right? But if you read it, you read this as a Korean without the visual, you just by this wajikun, that sounds like a splinter woods, big one, very heavy, wood splintered by, by somebody crashing into it, and they're splintering
it's
up.
only something that can be done because of how the Hangul works.
Yeah,
I see what you're saying. Yeah, like you're right. Like the English word, the English word for that would be crash, but here it's an actual word that's describing like the sound of wood being broken. It's not just crash. It's the same, but it's not. It's got a very different. It's a more profound.
You notice it's only done in Korean on that one, right?
Yeah.
But on other ones, like this one right here, bang tang, bang and tang is they put in both English and Korean. But something English does better, some things Korean does better, And the only thing I regret,
perfect marriage of the two.
Yeah, only thing I regret they didn't have is that when these Japanese soldiers were speaking, there were Japanese soldiers in this book. You see the Japanese soldiers, if they spoke Japanese.
Right. I mean, that would have been a little bit, I think that might have been a little bit more, that would have had to take that extra step. Like I remember when, here's an interesting story. So at one point I was approached by, a film producer to make an adaptation of our comic. And one of the things they asked me to do was put together like an ideal casting of who I'd like to see playing all the roles. So my vision for it was to have all Korean actors portray the Korean characters and all Japanese actors portray the Japanese characters. Sounds like a really wonderful idea, but I don't think it's plausible. I don't think that could ever happen. It maybe perhaps with like if every cast member was American or Canadian, you could probably get away with something like that. But native, like forget about it.
For instance, if you're making a World War II movie, right?
Yeah.
And you say, oh, only if you're German.
Yes.
That will not work.
Yeah. No, that's true. That's very true.
So, anyway, oh man. Anyway, this was really enjoyable.
Always.
I hope. Was my question tough or it was too easy? Am I just
no? No, it's not an easy question. It's a very. The only reason why I was able to answer it was because, I have to answer this question every day. So it's still a hard question, and it's still depending on when you catch me in. It's like the answer might change, but it is something I take very seriously. I'm glad. Honestly, I'm just glad I had a chance to talk about it because. It's tough being out there at times, but it's a choice. I choose to do it. So, and I don't regret the choice, and I'm not burdened by it. I love that I get to do this. I'm honored, and like you said before, very, very, very lucky. I'm very lucky that I can do this. I'm very lucky that I get to engage with people, and not everybody's going to love it. But there are going to be many more people who love it, and so that's what I try to focus on is those positive experiences and trying to enrich people's lives one reader at a time. So
Only do you have a store where
Oh yes, absolutely. So I'll put my store link here, and we're also on our Kickstarter is still it's funded, but we're allowing late pledges right now. So the link I just dropped right now that's to my website, and if you're going to be if you're interested in seeing me at a convention, I have my convention schedule there. You can just scroll down. But if you want to buy books off my website, you can do that too. I'll ship them right to your front door. But if you want to back our Kickstarter campaign right now, you can do so.
Can you share the link?
I thought I did. So this comment is failed to post on comment. Why is that? Huh. Here, I'll drop it in the private chat. So this is the link to my store.
Oh, the Slippy Reader said my link is not working. Okay.
Yeah, and then the second link is to my Kickstarter. Sorry about that, guys. But if you go to my website, which is OK Comics Online, you have access to purchasing all my books. I will sign them to your front door. And then if you follow the Kickstarter link, we're accepting late pledges right now, and there are items on this latest campaign that are not going to be on our store. Period. Like they're just sort of like available only on the Kickstarter. So we're doing some variants, and they're available on there exclusively. There's some original art you can purchase on there. We don't sell original art on our website, so yeah. You can check us out online, and I'm the face of everything, so you guys can always check me out there. You can also follow me on YouTube as well. Kicking It with Onrie is a show I host every week. I do 1 to 2 sales shows a week. So if you guys are comics fans, I sell old comics. I'm always digging through dollar bins and doing stuff like that. So. Come and check us out.
You guys see this link, guys? You don't see it? You guys see it? You guys on the chat?
Yeah, I think when I initially posted it, it didn't work. But now I think I see it.
Okay, let me do this, and I'm gonna do this here. All right.
Okay, yeah, they see the links. This is good. Okay. All right, excellent.
They see the links.
Yeah.
Now, you're gonna hold on. Okay, they see the link. So wait a second. The website uses cookie. I accept. I am actually add to the stage. All right.
Yeah. So that's my website. And you guys can buy books on there. And if you scroll down to the bottom, so that's our shop. But if you scroll down a little bit further, my convention schedule is there. So like I mentioned earlier, I also do live stream shows, and you guys can come and hang out on there. But these are the conventions I'm going to be at this month, and my booths for every single con. So. If you're going to be at
Oklahoma City, wow, my home state.
Oh, really? Yeah, I'm heading there Thursday. I've never been there before. Yeah, so yeah, there you go. You can also get yourself a gift card on my site. But if you want to follow me on social media, you can do that too.
Now, let me ask you. You have the hard copy of that book?
Oh yeah, absolutely. We got
Is it in here?
Yeah. Yeah, I have thousands of these things here. So everything I have my at-home warehouse. If you order from my website, I will ship it to your front door.
Okay, let me lead me to one. I'm gonna give one away.
Okay, great. I appreciate that.
Let me get the duck race going on here. All right, let's do the duck race. Because I'll put you through hard questions. So
that's awesome. Yeah, that's cool. All right, so we're gonna see who's gonna win this book. Yes,
Yeah.
cons for me are a very effective way. This comic conventions are where I sell probably about 95% of my books. So I've done, I've done hundreds of conventions every year, and yeah, that's where I sell books. That's where I make my money is going to cons. So that is a very effective way to sell books. And it's not like that for everybody. There are people who are way better at Kickstarter. I'm not the best on Kickstarter. So it's like I really thrive on being in person where you can see me. So if you go back to the shop, NammaN, and you go to the search bar, you could just type in Eastern Shun.
Search for Eastern Shin.
Yeah.
Why I don't know why I cannot get into my duck race. Hold on. My duck race is giving me trouble. I should have got this up already.
That's all good. There you go.
So these are
the hardcover graphic novel. Yeah, that's
this one right here.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna get that myself. Okay.
I appreciate
it.
There's a second one too, and the second one is where that's the second one. So Fallen Avenger covers the Battle of Myeongyang, and the first graphic novel is Hansando. It leads up to Hansando.
Bicycle. Bicycle.
Yes, I do. I have a lot of energy to do these, to do all these cons and produce comics too. Yes, you have to. Honestly, you have to have. Comics is a young man's game, I guess, but yes, I do. Most of the time. I mean, if you guys notice right now, I'm kind of yawning a little bit. So I mean, yeah, age is catching up with me, but yes, I do have the energy. I like to be in front of people. So yes, I'll be in Denver, and I'll be in Phoenix next weekend, and all my information's there. So if you go back to the website, Ron, you can scroll down. I'll tell you exactly where I'm going to be.
What? Why is my duck race not working? My duck race won't let me enter. Come on. Watch this stupid thing right here. Bus. Do you see any other bus?
Yes. Yeah.
Bus.
Those verification things are so weird. No worries, Ron. It's all good.
I don't see no more bus, right?
Yeah.
Oh, you saw my password now. I'm going to have to change your password.
You have to change your password now.
Oh, man. All right. Let's see who else we got there. We got okay. All right. So name, edit list. Okay. We got Ron. We got Sleepy. Who else we got up there?
Biggie Shaq, Garfung, yeah, and then Biggie Shaq, and
Garf. Wang. Oh yeah, Biggie Shack. I know Biggie Shack. Oh,
Brian,
Kickstarter. That's
Brian,
you. There's Joe. Interchronic Joe. And Joe. Let's see. Robert Pop. I'm just gonna shorten it. Robert. Let's see. There's Brian LCS. Brian LCS. And Biggie. You say Biggie was here, right? Biggie Shack.
yes. Yep.
I think that's it. Did I miss anybody?
Don't know. I think so. I think you're good.
Oh, Luke was in here. Luke was in here. Oh, he's one of our crew. Luke is one of our crew. Okay. I don't wanna. Yeah, Rick Biggie was here. Yeah, I think. All right. I think that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think that's it. Okay. 7 ducks. What happened? What happened to Omni?
I'm here. Sorry,
Oh,
I accidentally closed the window. My bad. I'm so sorry
okay.
about that.
There you go. No. All right. You guys ready for the duck race? Let me see.
Let's do
30
this.
seconds. 30 seconds. Set. All right. Give me a shuffle. How many shuffle? 2, 3.
Shuffle.
Yeah, just to randomize.
Yeah, shuffle.
3. How many? 2 or 1? 1 or 3?
Do three. Do three. Let's
Okay,
shuffle it
3.
up. That's pretty good.
1, 2, 3.
Whoever's
I
gonna
don't
win this
see.
is really gonna appreciate this. Whoever loses is gonna hate me, and I'm sorry.
All right. Ready, set, go.
Oh, this is awesome. Sleepy is in the lead.
Sleepy's in the lead. Sleepy, why you
I
going
think
on the lead now?
Biggie's catching up. Biggie's catching up. Biggie's catching up.
He's always from the behind.
Oh my God,
He's always-
Garfung is in. Oh my God. Oh my God, this is a close race. Oh my God. Joe!
Joe!
Joe! Oh my God, Joe! Yes! Oh, that was great. Oh, that was awesome. Joe, congratulations. Another thing I want to mention too, if Joe wants, I can sign his book for him in Hangul. So I'd be happy.
Oh,
to
Joe?
sign it.
Okay. I don't know if Joe, he's an early sleeper, so he probably left already. But I'm sure, I think he'll like that. I think he'll like that. So, yeah.
Very cool.
Anyway, I'm gonna get it. I actually have Joe's address. I'm gonna have you
just
send.
send it to me. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll send the address to you and have you sign it and send it to Joe. Joe and his mohawk.
I'll send it out this week.
All right. Anyway, hey, Chad. Thanks for participating in our battle between Onrie and NammaN. I hope you guys enjoyed the battle. Was it a false advertising?
It was a great advertisement. I loved it. It was great, very, very controversial.
Great controversy.
Yes. No, this is great. Honestly, this is something that I feel I really want to share with people too. I think we had a really intense conversation. This is great.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the conversation, and yeah, I'll definitely get this hardcover. I need to get that. You gonna put this third series in hardcover too, or
Yes, yeah, that's what we're working on. We're working on finishing up the last issue, and we'll put that hardcover out there. And the hardcovers have over 50 pages of bonus content. So yeah, it's gonna be awesome. Thank you so much, Sleepy Reader. I appreciate it. Thank you. That means so much to me. Thank you.
So,
and I
anyway,
love your profile pic. I'm a big Vision guy, so I love it.
You do what now?
I love Vision as a character.
Oh, Sleepy.
Yeah.
Sleepy is he's a what do you call it?
Doing what I want to be doing right now. He's sleeping probably.
No, he's the classic guy. He's a the community's what do you call it? Pole that stands up the stadium. I mean, he's the column.
He's the backbone. He's the backbone.
Yeah. He's
Yeah, okay.
He's one of the columns that holds up our community. So
yeah. That's awesome. He's the anchor.
anchor, yeah.
I'm at a
well,
loss of words all the time, so it's no worries. You're in the West Coast. Okay.
Anyway, thanks, guys. I think we're on over almost 2 hours. So have a good night, guys. We'll talk to you guys next time, and catch my AIPI's next case tomorrow is Shan Chen.
Oh wow, you have Sean Chen coming on tomorrow.
Yeah,
That's
tomorrow
awesome.
is Shan Chen. Yeah, so and then we got more guests coming up. So enjoy our shows. Thanks for participating. Till next time, guys. NammaN out and Onrie out. Onrie out. He didn't die. So that's good.
No, I didn't. I survived. Thank God.